Three men, one van. 41 seconds between the moment they grabbed her and the moment they wished they hadn't. Her name doesn't matter to the story. Call her Dana, because that's the name the legend settled on somewhere around the fourth retelling. What matters is the parking lot, the time, 9:47 p.m., a Tuesday in October, and the fact that none of the three men in that van had done their homework on the car parked 11 feet behind them. The story is still told in dojos today, usually by instructors who weren't there and heard it from someone who swears they were. Southridge Community College, a satellite campus, the kind with one library, 400 night class students, and a parking lot lit by 6 sodium lamps, 2 of which worked. Dana Whitfield was 20 years old, pre-nursing student, 3rd semester, working a closing shift at the campus library 4 nights a week to cover the gap her scholarship didn't. She'd walked this lot alone at least 200 times that year. Nothing had ever happened. That was the problem. Nothing happening is what makes the 201st time feel safe. The three men had been watching the lot for 11 nights. Their leader went by Reyes, 34 years old, 6'1", 230 pounds, a jaw that had been broken twice and said wrong once. He'd done 4 years in a state facility for aggravated assault and came out with a philosophy instead of a lesson. Big men don't get stopped, they get delayed. He ran a small, ugly operation. Grab-and-hold jobs, quick ransom plays on families who could pay and wouldn't call police. 2 jobs before this one, 2 payouts. 0 mistakes in his own accounting. The 2 with him were younger. Deke, 26, wiry, fast, good with his hands, and terrible with patience. And a 3rd man the story never bothers to name, because he ran the moment things went wrong, and running men don't get remembered. Reyes had picked Dana for one reason. Her stepfather owned 3 car dealerships in the next county over. He'd done the math on that a dozen times. He liked math. Math didn't fight back. He had one habit that made him feel untouchable. He never touched a target himself until the van doors were already closed. Let Deke make first contact. Reyes stayed calm, clean, 3 steps back, hands never dirty until the outcome was already decided. That was his blind spot. He believed outcomes were decided before they happened. He was wrong about that a few minutes later. The van was parked at 9:31 p.m., 16 minutes before Dana's shift ended. Beige, no plates visible from the library entrance, engine running low the whole time to keep the battery from dying in the cold. Nobody in the lot noticed the van. Nobody noticed the sedan that pulled in at 9:44 p.m. either. Dark blue, dust on the wheel wells, parked 11 feet from the van's back bumper. A man got out, locked it, and walked toward the library without looking at either vehicle. He wasn't there for Dana. He didn't know her name yet. He was there to pick up his niece, who worked the same closing shift and had asked him for a ride home 3 weeks running because her own car had died and she hadn't saved enough to fix it. His name was Chuck Norris. He was 51 years old that October. Not there as a fighter, not there as anyone's protector. Just an uncle in a parking lot, 5 minutes early, the way he always was. He wasn't the reason this story exists. He was the reason it has an ending. Reyes never saw the sedan. At 9:47 p.m., Dana came out the side door alone, keys already in her hand the way every safety pamphlet tells you to hold them. She'd made it 11 steps into the lot when Deke came off the van's blind side and took her by the arm. "Don't scream and this goes easy," Deke said, low voice, fast, practiced. She screamed anyway, once. That's all she got out before a hand closed over her mouth and the van's side door slid open behind her. 40 feet away, in the front seat of the sedan, Chuck heard it. He didn't jump. He didn't gasp. He set his coffee in the cup holder, opened the door, and walked, not ran, walked toward the sound. The way a man walks toward a fire alarm he already suspects is real. Reyes had a plan for this exact moment. He always did. Get her in, close the door, drive slow out of the lot so headlights didn't draw attention, get on the highway before anyone finished dialing 911. He'd run this sequence 19 times in his head over 11 nights of watching. 19 times it worked. He clocked the man walking toward them and filed him under the same category he filed every bystander. Too slow to matter, too smart to try, or too scared to bother. 50-something, gray at the temples, windbreaker. Nothing about him raised a flag. Reyes had beaten men twice this one's size in half this much time. He didn't know yet that he was about to meet the one man on Earth that particular math didn't apply to. "Hey," Chuck said, not loud. "Let her go." Deke laughed, short, surprised, the kind of laugh that comes out before a man decides whether to be scared. "Walk away, old man." "She's not getting in that van," Chuck said. Reyes stepped out from behind the vehicle now, closing the distance, letting his size do the talking the way it always had. "This ain't your business, friend." "It is now." 3 words. That was the whole exchange from Chuck's side of it. 3 sentences, 11 words total, delivered with the same flat calm a man might use to ask someone to move their shopping cart. What would you have done at 51 years old, alone, against 3 men in a running van? Reyes never asked himself that question about Chuck. He should have. Dana was still fighting the hand over her mouth, one shoe already off, dragging her heels against the asphalt. That single detail is the one every version of the story keeps. The scuff marks on the pavement, still visible the next morning. The only physical evidence anyone photographed. Deke shoved her toward the open door. "Get her in! Get her in!" That was as far as the sentence got. Fight sections in these stories usually get written long. This one doesn't need to be. 11 seconds, start to finish, and every one of them mattered. Deke came first, a wide right hand. The kind a man throws when he's used to people backing away from his size rather than his skill. Chuck didn't back away. He stepped inside the punch, not around it, and Deke's own momentum carried his arm past a target that was no longer where it had been half a second earlier. From 10 feet away, all Dana saw was her captor suddenly folding at the knees, air leaving him in one hard exhale, and the grip on her arm gone. From Reyes's angle, it looked like Deke had simply missed and fallen. He hadn't fallen. He'd been placed there. Reyes came next, faster than his size suggested, a technique he trusted, a driving forearm meant to close distance and pin an opponent against the van door. Chuck turned his hip a quarter step, redirected the force past his own shoulder the way water goes around a stone, and Reyes's own weight carried him 2 full strides into the side of his own vehicle. Metal on flesh. Not thrown, not launched across the lot the way legend sometimes exaggerates it in the retelling. Redirected, guided. The physics were always honest, even when the story wasn't. The third man ran before his feet finished deciding to. Reyes came off the van a second time, blood at his hairline now, swinging low. A hook meant for the ribs, meant to end this. Chuck's hand rose to meet it, not a block so much as a redirection, catching the wrist and turning it a precise 11 degrees off its line. His other hand came up flat, fingers together, and stopped 1 inch from Reyes's throat. 1 inch. He held it there for 2 full seconds, long enough for Reyes to understand, in the animal part of his brain that does math faster than the rest of him, exactly how far 1 inch actually is when it's the only thing standing between him and a very different night. Then Chuck lowered the hand, stepped back, and let him drop to his knees on his own. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. The stillness was the whole sentence. Reyes knelt on the asphalt for a long moment, one hand pressed to the side of his own van, breathing like a man who just understood something about himself he wasn't going to enjoy carrying home. 4 years in a facility had taught him that big men delay the inevitable. 11 seconds in a parking lot taught him that some men simply aren't on that scale at all. Dana's uncle's co-worker, a security officer named Tomas Reyes Alvarez, no relation, who happened to be finishing his rounds 2 buildings over, arrived at a dead run, radio already up, and found Dana sitting on the curb with her shoe back on, and 2 grown men either unconscious or too winded to stand, and a 51-year-old man in a windbreaker calmly telling her, "You're all right, it's over." His niece came out of the library 30 seconds later, saw the flashing lights, and ran to him first, before she even understood why. That's the detail the story keeps for its quiet dialogue beat. "Uncle Chuck," she started. "I'm fine," he said. "She's the one who needs a minute." "What happened?" "Wrong lot, wrong night, for them." 6 words. That was the whole philosophy, delivered without a lecture, without a speech about justice or courage. Just a plain fact stated plainly, the way he'd say almost anything. Nobody filmed it. It was 1991, and cell phones with cameras didn't exist yet. The story spread the old way. Campus security told campus police. Campus police told the local paper. The local paper ran 4 paragraphs on page 6 under a headline nobody remembers correctly anymore. Dana told her roommates. Her roommates told their boyfriends. Within a month, 3 different versions were circulating at Southridge, each one a little larger than the last. The van became 2 vans in one telling. Reyes grew 4 inches and 30 pounds in another. By the time it reached the martial arts community 2 counties over, the story had grown legs of its own, the way these stories always do, gathering weight with every retelling, while somehow never losing the one detail that actually mattered. Whether every detail survived the retelling intact or not, this is how the story comes down. A girl walked out of a library on a Tuesday night, and the man in the next car over didn't need to be asked twice. Reyes and Deke were both picked up within the hour, 6 blocks from campus, the van's engine finally allowed to die. Reyes served 9 years the second time around. He never told the full story of what happened in that lot to anyone who asked. Not his cellmates, not his lawyer, not the parole board. The one time a fellow inmate pushed him on it, Reyes reportedly said only, "There was a guy there. You wouldn't believe me if I told you what he did with one hand." He was right. Most people didn't.